Most people study a language for years and still can't order coffee in Paris. My partner and I were just finishing our first Portuguese lesson, and we are doing the exact opposite of what we were taught in school. No big books, no grammar rules, and zero translations. Here is why studying is actually the slowest way to learn. And as you can see here, stop learning and start acquiring. I'm going to share with you in this video our ridiculous strategy for learning Portuguese, which is going to be our fourth language. We don't share the exact same languages, but both of us talk 3 different languages already. And Portuguese is going to be the fourth one. So let's imagine if you are an adult and you are coming. When I first studied Spanish, I came to school, Spanish school in Sevilla. It was beautiful in Spain. And the first thing the teacher did was put in a huge book on the table, like boom. And what is this book? This is a grammar. And our first lesson was about the verbs. How do you make a verb in Spanish? And 50% of it was about the irregular verbs, irregulares. Most of the verbs are like this, but there are some irregulares that are like this. This is how adults approach this challenge of learning a new language. They go for it from the academic perspective. Like we are trying to be scientific about the language. We want to learn the formulas. We want to learn how to create, how to build the language, how to build the sentences, what are the rules, how to remember everything. This is the traditional way. This is what we're doing when we are studying the second language in school. Basically, this is what we're doing in school, even for our first language. And why is that? It's hard to tell. But I think as an adult, you wanna study like an adult. It's hard for you to be in a place where you feel like you don't understand. So what you're looking for is you look for understanding. That's the traditional way. If we really think about this, how did you as a child learn your first language? Natural order of acquisition. I take you back, or maybe you have a family member who is tiny, right? 1-year-old, 2-year-old. I'm taking you back to your mama times, or your papa times, or your grandma's times. I don't know. I take you back there. Back there, your family invested a lot in order to tell you exactly what things are and how to pronounce them. In your first stage of learning your native language, you never read a book, right? You were 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Like, you didn't open a book, of course. So what did you do? Someone showed you this and told you what this is. By the way, in my native language, this is agas. Agas. You see, this is agas. Wow, what is this? Agas. This is how. And now you will remember. You will remember. You will remember more. Maybe not in a few weeks, but you will remember more. Why is that? Because this is how our brain operates. But when you're adult, this method feels ridiculous. It feels overwhelming. Like I'm gonna speak with another adult like that, like I'm a sort of child or something like that, and they're gonna tell me the word 50 times, like banana 50 times. We don't want to learn like this, but this is how our brain works. So first, you need to understand the input, because if I was just telling you agas without showing you what it is, you couldn't comprehend. But if you see what it is, and then you are told how do you say that? What is the language for that? This is how our brain remembers. And when we do that, we remember properly. We remember clearly. After the kids learning how to understand, they understand what their mama is saying, what their family members are saying, then they start speaking. And by their third year of life, and imagine how much they have experienced in those 3 years, like tremendous amount of change. By the end of the third year, they are able to talk like fluently, right? And then we introduce them to reading, and then we introduce them to writing. So basically 7 years, they are not writing. They'll do a little bit of reading, 6 to 7 years, and then they start writing themselves. They learn how to write in their first grade and stuff like that. So we are spending 7 years with our toddlers to teach them the spoken language. And this is the language you know best. So why, when you learn a new language, you take a book Why? Why? Because this is inconvenient to learn the natural way. It's inconvenient because you feel like a baby. But in fact, most people say it's easier to acquire language when you are a child. Why is that? There is no biological reason for that because the brain capacity is significantly bigger when you are adult. Significantly bigger, right? The kids needs their bodies needs to adjust to so many stuff through the 3 years they have. And as an adult, you have so many, I'll explain in a little bit what you can do as an adult, but you have so many different options. Your brain is bigger. So there is no biological way, there is no biological reason for why is it easier to learn as a child. There is only this society reason, right? Sociological the reason is because a child learn, we teach them better. We teach them in a better way. And if don't just take my word for it, we have evidence. We have research about this. CI is comprehensive input. And CI students acquire a language 3 times faster than the traditional models. Higher grammar score. If you learn like that, you're going to outperform people that learn the grammar book. If you learn the grammar just by comprehensive input. You get what I'm saying? Not learning the grammar book, you will outperform those who does. It's crazy. And of course, in a proficiency and fluency, we see significantly better results. You can check, I will put in the description of this video, the actual articles, the actual studies about this. If you need to let go of your intellect brain, okay? Back then in Sevilla, facing this huge grammar book, I knew there is a better way for me to learn Spanish. I knew. Because I know this is not the way, or at least it's not the way I wanna learn. And I started looking in YouTube, and this is probably why I do this video, is because maybe for one of you out there, it will help in your journey to learn a new language, which language is super important. And I came across this video, and I think this is the only video you need to watch. This is not a video. This is a movie, basically. It's a 1 hour video. And here is a professor. He is teaching Spanish, but here he is documenting his journey of learning a new language for a whole year and how he does it, how he approach it. A professor, guys. And he knows already, I think, 6 or 7 languages. I can't remember his name, but this is the video, how to acquire. I'll put the link in the description. So when I see this image, I know this is a tower. Why do I know this is a tower? English is not my native language, but I see the image and I know it's a tower. And also when I see this image, I know it's a migdal. Migdal is in Hebrew, my native language. And also when I see this image, I know this is a torre. Torre, it's a tower, but I don't know it because I translate. I know it because I see the image and I know it's a torre. Why do I know this? Because when I saw a tower in Seville, I knew that the name of the tower is a torre because of my teachers, because of Google Maps, because whatever. And I was introduced to that input so many times that now every time I see this image, I know it's a torre. And the wrong way, how can you know that you are in the wrong way, is when you're trying to remember. It looks like this. Okay, this is a tower. How do you say a tower? It's Spanish. Like this. This already, you're in a wrong place. And this is a good sign for you to know, oh, this is not how I should approach this. Of course, in the first time, people are going to say, what is this? You're not going to. But after 50 times, you will remember. And you will remember in a much deeper way. It's not like here, you will remember here. You will remember in the back end of your brain. You will remember the visuals, and you will have out the plural. And when you do that way, when you train yourself that way, you get to fluency. You're able to talk better when you do that way, not the other way around. Now, I'm going to argue something big here. I think only input matters, but this is a big, big title, right? Of course, not only input matters, because at some point you want to produce output, right? You want to be able to speak. You want to be able to write in the language. But where you at now, starting a new language endeavor, you should focus only on the input. You should not focus about how to say that as well. You should not focus about anything. You need to focus on the input. And what's important here about the input is that you need to understand what's going on. It's not listening to a podcast, about business in the language you want to learn. This is not going to help you because you're not going to understand anything. No, you need to watch child's videos. You need to have someone playing around with you with images and pictures. Have you ever wondered why, when you go to France, for example, to Paris or even outside of Paris, more so outside of Paris, people don't know English? And yet when you go to Bulgaria, for example, all the young people know English. And when you're trying to rationalize it, why is that? You come up with the answer, okay, that's the education system. Right? The education system, probably the teachers in Bulgaria are doing a better job than the teachers in France. But this is not the real reason. The reason is that in France, they dub all the movies and all the TV shows for the kids. But in Bulgaria, they keep it in the native language and just add subtitles. That's the difference. This is why we have so many young people in Israel that watch telenovelas from Argentina, and they know exactly to speak Spanish, even though they've never been there, because they watch 400 episodes and they know how to speak. And we have quite plenty of these plenty of people like this. The point I'm trying to make here is you need to understand what's going on and just get the input. Don't worry about understanding every single word. But if you can understand the story and you get the input, you will learn the language. If you cannot understand the story and you get the input, you get overwhelmed. This is about comprehensible input. I made a small formula, but I don't think it's not a scientific one, not an academic one, but it is a small formula. Might help you. Comprehensible input plus fun equal comprehensible output. So if you understand what you've been taught and you have fun while doing that, you will be able to produce output that others understand as well. And this is what communication is about. Communication is about understanding each other. I hope that this way you will get to where you want to get in your language endeavors. Let me know how it went. See you soon.